Oh, and trouble back in the back. That looked like trouble for Med. The caution flag is out. I'm not quite sure what happened there, race fans, but it did not sound pretty, that's for sure. Let's see if we can take a look back and figure out what happened to Med there in that #1 machine. Oh, it looks like they might have pushed it 3 wide there. Bend over, got up into the wall, bounced back down into Med and Halo and Sarah Saviron. Oh, that is not how these drivers wanted their race to start tonight, race fans. As it sounds like we have trouble on the front stretch, maybe? No, it looks like the track is clear. I could have swore I heard some sheet metal breaking, but it looks like we're all good to go here tonight at Hickory. Oh, no! Now the caution's out. August just got absolutely dumped there. I'm not quite sure what prompted that, but I gotta say that was one of the more spectacular crashes I've seen in my time commentating racing here, race fans. Let's get one last look of what happened to Pete Comedy. Just a terrible, terrible hit that sent him way up into the air. That almost went over the catch fence. It's unfortunate we're not giving out bonus points for highest flips here tonight. High line, which seemed fairly successful, but thankfully no contact was made. The drivers seeming to be navigating through the S's well enough. Well, it looks like Med in the 1 is off, as well as Felix Marais, and I'm not even sure who else was in there. Felix making contact with Med. That's not how you re-enter the track safely. Of his rims. Also, it looks like we have trouble for Frosty Film. Looks like he got some pretty big damage. He's going to not enter pit lane. Interesting. Let's see if we can take a look back and see what happened to Frosty there. Frosty in that #7 entry. Looks like he just locked up his right front and couldn't recover from the slide and just spun it out. Valnar might have had a little bit of trouble because Felix and Frosty have passed him. Let's see if we can see why Valnar lost so much position. Oh, sure enough, Valnar suffering from the same issue that Frosty had of overdriving the final corner, and he just could not save it. But he's got the car going still. So far, none of these incidents have had particularly bad damage for these drivers. Let's see if we can't take a look back and figure out just what happened to Sarah Saviron, and it looks like Med and maybe a few other drivers had troubles there. Looking here at Sarah Saviron in the black and red 117 machine, it looks like maybe... Oh, Med pushed it 3 wide and collected Valnar, and there was nowhere Sarah could go to avoid that. But sometimes that's just how it goes. Let's see if we can take a look back and see what happened to Bloody Wolf in that 93. Already looking at this freeze frame, we're pushed 3 wide. These cars are way closer together than they need to be. This looks like just trouble waiting to happen. And sure enough, it looks like a bit of a replay of what happened last time. Drivers pushed it 3 wide that really should not have been pushing it 3 wide. Lake involved, Bloody Wolf involved.
I'm almost hoping he gets murked by one of the snipers waiting on the racetrack.
We're pushing it 3 wide again. I don't like that, especially this far up in the front. These drivers are not afraid to put their elbows out.
There was some wheel contact, I believe.
Oh, that's a scary sight. Oh, yep, there we go.
Oh boy!
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. 14 laps in, 3 cautions. I think we've got approximately 3 or 4 laps of green flag racing done here today.
3. We have 1.5 at the beginning. We had maybe 2 in between that first and second caution, and that was That was one heck of a stack up right there. No, revenge is a dish best served cold, sweet, and with a gun. Guns may be pulled on these races during and after the race in future. I see in the audience chat lane we have several people planning on.
Oh, and Peak Comedy and August both just wrecked with 11 laps to go.
Oh, that is quite the shocking turnaround. Everyone in the track is pulling up behind him, absolutely nowhere to go. And look, number 12 is the only person who's currently made it around. Can they make it a full lap? Seems like our timing system is kind of broken for a second. And there it's back now again. But as you can see, it seems like the dominance of Felix Murray is only increasing. The number of drivers that are a lap down just goes up and up, and there's another thing.
Out for... I'm not quite sure what happened there. That was the 217 of Lake now up on her lid for our first caution of the race.
As she would say, that seems like a skill issue.
That does seem like a skill issue. I do remember that when Ottercar first started, during the initial getting together and organizing of this league, that Lake told me in person that her racing line was mid. And it looks like that held true here, as that 217 machine belonging to Felix Murray got just shoved up into the wall and sent up and over on its lid here tonight.
Did that look like a forced error to you, or was that pure driver error?
The 330 machine is going to take the win by a comfortable 2-second lead. Trouble back in the back.
Just on the final lap.
That was the 770, I believe, that just got spun there. I can't even find them on the timing and scoring sheet. What just happened there?
Well,
That certainly was a finish. I'm desperately trying to find what just happened there.
It looked to be Sarah Saviron, the driver Sarah Saviron in the 71 machine. We're figuring it out.
We're figuring it out. So it looks like Madcap checked up, or the 38 machine checked up, and the 776 just had nowhere to go there.
Let's get another look at that on the 776.
Looks like it might have been trouble for Lake. Lake riding the high line up against the wall through the corner. It sounds like something might have happened on the front stretch, so let's see if we can't take a look back and see if the camera crews know what just happened there, because I certainly don't. They're telling me something happened to the 330 of Lake, last week's winner. 3 wide through the corner, contact with Pav, and Lake gets shoved up into the wall. I'm not sure what happened to there, but it does look like is definitely stick here in the number 53. One of the cars on the lead lap, I believe, and the caution flag is out yet again for Drop Table Roster getting shoved up into the wall. Sideline off to a pretty solid run. Maroon drifting up to the high side there and almost immediately getting sent 3 wide by Octave. Octave's going to make contact. Everyone manages to keep it going. That could have been a very hairy start for these drivers, making contact right off the bat up in the front of this field. It does look like the inside line is the place to be. It looks like we might have had almost 4 wide back in the back for a second there. And trouble. A big impact for a lot of drivers there. I'm not quite sure who all was involved. 117 pushed it 3 wide and got shoved up into the inside wall. And the caution flag is out. Trouble out on the speedway for the number 12 machine. Let's see if we can't take a look back and see what happened. Pav was stopped on the front or back straightaway there. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. Looking at Pav in the number 12 machine here. Pav, Big impact for that number 12 and taken out by his own teammate of Arvo Soberov in the 429 machine in the 11th. Oh, scratch that. The caution flag is out yet again. Trouble back in the back. I'm not quite sure what happened there, so let's see if we can get the camera crews to spool up what brought out our third caution of the evening. It's looking like Felix Marais, Halo, Sarah Savire, and Arvo Soberov and Bloody Wolf were all involved according to the timing and scoring sheet. Currently looking at the 217 of Felix Marais. Oh my. Massive impact for the 429 machine. Zoe in the 10th position, now 11th. We're going almost 4 wide down the backstretch though. Oh, trouble. And we just got a repeat of what happened to Arvo Soberov there. In now to the 420 machine of Oh You Know. Probably looking a bit how the back of his car looks right about now in that number 420 machine. Let's see if we can't look back and see what happened to the driver of that number 8 machine. You see him here coming down into turn 1. The brake rotors glowing on that tour modified machine, and the car just could not come to a stop fast enough, and around it went. That is now putting Arvo Soberov in the 429 machine in a pretty solid lead. Of course, I say that, and he goes off track. And it looks like he is able to keep it going. Maybe not. Second caution flag of the evening. Would be willing to actually pull up the correct view for us. We're looking at the current, or well, the race leader at the time of the incident, Zoe, in the 666 entry, making much the same mistake that Arvo did in the 420 Shine machine earlier on in this race, just getting it loose, and there was not much she could do when she locked up those brakes to try and hold on to it. What happened to the driver of that 217? You can see him here in the black and green entry just in front of drop table roster. Whole bunch of smoke from drivers locking up their tires. He's gonna do it as well, and that 217 machine is not going to stick to the ground. Let's take a quick look back and see what happened to that number 54 of Stick. Probably the same thing that happened to Arvo and Zoe, just sends it way too hard in the corner. The brake rotors on these modifieds are absolutely glowing from being way overused and sent off into the grass in turn 4. But while we're here, let's also take a look back at what happened to Valnar just prior in that 776 machine. Valnar way down on the low side and did not brake anywhere near hard enough for the corner, but able to keep his car going and bringing it back around on the track for the driver of that 37 machine. Let's see if we can't go back and figure out what happened to Space Dragon Queen. Pretty fine run coming out of the turn 2, but yet again just trying to get on the gas to keep herself ahead of drop table roster just behind her, and car slipped out from under her going into 3, just not down into pit lane here after a pretty big impact here at the start. Only 5 laps in the books. Let's see if we can't take a look back and see what happened to the driver of the 717. Of course, riding on board with that Reddit car, it looks like he's going to make contact with Humongous. That's going to push him up into the wall, and then more contact between Humongous and Maroon is going to put some serious damage on that 717 entry to bring out our first caution.